And I can recall the names. You all have been giving very good answers. Mudaliya, Pallavi, Mahanur, Ritika, Abhinav. You all have been giving very good answers in the last 3 classes. Yes, Ashwarya, Nishta Siddhani. All of you have been quite responsive in the classes. Good morning, everyone. Today our topic is on markets, and I straight away first moved on to a bit of the theoretical portion, and then multiple choice questions from my side. Yeah, Sanjana, Shivani, Karthik, Anupriya, everyone, good morning. Great to see you all. Yeah, markets. In this topic, basically, first we'll be discussing about revenue, and then the different types of market and the profit maximization philosophy. Revenue, we all know, is the amount derived by selling a product or by rendering a service. The amount which a firm receives by selling a product or by rendering a service, that's called revenue. And there are 3 concepts of revenue. It's total revenue, average revenue, and the marginal revenue. Total revenue is nothing but price multiplied by the quantity, the total amount realized by a firm by selling its product or by rendering its services. And average revenue is actually nothing but total revenue divided by quantity is average revenue. So what happens? Total revenue is nothing but P into Q we discussed. Total revenue is price multiplied by quantity. And again divided by quantity, the Q cancels. Average revenue is nothing but price of the product. And marginal revenue is the additional revenue, the extra revenue derived by selling an additional unit, an extra unit of the product. That is, extra revenue derived by selling one additional unit of the product is called marginal revenue. There are 2 ways mathematically of calculating MR. Marginal revenue is equals to TRN minus TRN minus 1. MRN. That is marginal revenue of the nth unit. It is nothing but total revenue of the nth unit minus total revenue of n minus 1 units. Or when we are calculating the difference of more than 1 unit, then MR is change in TR divided by change in quantity. Change in total revenue. This triangle sign is delta. Delta TR by delta Q. Either of these formulas may be required for solving numerical problems. In the last class, we had discussed about cost, and here we're talking of revenue. Reason, when you're talking of market situation, whether it's perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic, oligopoly, whenever we're supposed to discuss a profit maximization, we need to have a knowledge of cost and revenue both. And therefore, this has been included as a part of your syllabus. Now, talking of the relation between AR and MR, but before going into that relationship, I'll discuss a bit about what is perfect computation, what is imperfect computation. Then only we can discuss the relation between AR and MR. Perfect computation, we all know, is a theoretical myth. It exists only in reality, the first thing. It's a market which has basically the 7 features of free entry and free exit, large number of buyers and sellers. All the sellers are selling in homogeneous product. The product is identical in all respects. No government interference in the working of the market. All the buyers and sellers have perfect knowledge of the market conditions. There's perfect mobility of the factors of production and the fixed price. The 7 features of perfect competition. Now, when you're talking of fixed price, what does that mean? Yes, Tanu, you'll get the questions in the PDF form, not an issue. You all will get it. Now, when you're talking of fixed price, what does that mean? The price that remains fixed in the market? No, it's not that. It means that at a particular point of time, the same price will prevail in the market. That is, every seller will be selling his product at the same price. That means in the market for gold, I'm not talking jewelry, I'm talking of 24 karat gold. The market for gold is a very good example of perfect competition. Though, as I said, perfect competition does not exist in reality. Why? Because all the features we may not find even in the market for gold. Because no government interference. That is not possible. The government imposes taxes, import duties, everything in the gold level. So 100% example perfect competition is not possible, but to some extent, closure example in the market for gold. 24 karat gold is 24 karat gold, whether you're buying it from any seller across the country. It has no extra features, homogeneous product. First, large number of buyers and sellers. Yes, there are large number of buyers, large number of sellers for gold. The free entry and free exit means the firms are free to enter the market. Any firm can close down its operations. Fixed price. How? If right now the price of 10 grams gold is 49,550 rupees, across India, everywhere you'll find the same price. That's the meaning of fixed price. But after 1 hour, the price may come down to 48,000, may increase to 50,000. The price with every seller will be same. Every seller will be offering the same price. There's a meaning of fixed price. Fixed price does not mean the price will not change. Price will change. Price will change. Why does it change now? Because of the force of demand and supply, the market equilibrium. If the demand increases, price may increase. Demand falls, the price may fall. It also varies with the supply. If the supply increases, prices will fall. Yes, if the supply increases, prices will fall. I'm not talking of vice versa. I'm not talking law of supply. We're talking market conditions now. You forget the law of supply. Law of supply will the price. If the price increases, supply will increase. But here I'm talking of reverse side. I'm talking of market equilibrium. I'm talking of if the supply will increase, prices will fall. Like in the market for agriculture commodities. We know if the supply of mangoes in the market increases, if there are more mangoes in the market, what happens? The prices obviously come down. The sellers do not charge a higher price, rather they will charge a lower price because there is excess supply as compared to the demand. That's it. So fixed price in perfect competition means the prices at which the sellers are selling the product is same. Now, why I was focusing this point? Because the next topic are the relationship between AR and MR. If we talk of perfect competition, in perfect competition, AR and MR are equal to each other. They coincide with each other. If we talk graphically, then AR and MR curve is a horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis. And AR is nothing but price. The price line or the average revenue or the margin, all are same. And one more important thing, the AR curve from the seller's point of view is actually nothing but the demand curve from the consumer's point of view. Because the AR curve shows the relation between average revenue and quantity. Here we are measuring average quantity and here we are measuring Average revenue, and here we are measuring quantity. And demand curve, we measure price and quantity. And price and AR are same. So the AR curve from the seller's point of view will nothing be but the demand curve from the consumer's point of view. In perfect competition, AR and MR will be equal to each other. That is, AR equals to MR, the same. In the horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis. The reason is only simple because of fixed price. Because every additional unit will have to be sold at the same price. If the price is 10 rupees, 1 unit will fetch 10, 2 units will fetch 20, 3 will fetch 30, 4 will fetch 40, and so on. So extra revenue derived from every successive unit will be nothing but the AR. But other than perfect competition, the other market is called imperfect competition. Monopoly, monopolistic, oligopoly, duopoly, all are called imperfectly competitive markets. Under imperfect competition, the relation between AR and MR is different. Under imperfect competition, MR is always less than AR. Because under imperfect competition, in order to sell more, the seller will have to reduce the price. The price reduces successively as the quantity is increased. Take a numerical example. If you take like this quantity AR, or rather price, we have total revenue and we have marginal revenue. Suppose quantity is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price was suppose 10, the initial price. But now since it's imperfect competition, in order to increase the sale, the prices will be reduced. Suppose price is 9, 8, 7, 6. So what do you get the total revenue? Total is price into quantity we discussed. So it's 10, 18, 24, 28, 30. So what is marginal revenue? First is 10, then 18 minus 10, because TRN minus TRN minus 1. That's simple. Extra revenue derived by selling an additional unit of the commodity. 18 minus 10. 8. 24 minus 18. 6. 28 minus 24. 4. So now, if you look at AR and MR, in this numerical table, what kind of property do you get? You'll find that both are declining. But while declining, except for the first unit, except for the sale of the first unit, MR is always less than AR. Only for the first unit they will be same. But other than that, at every level, MR curve, you know, if you go down to curve, if you put in a graphical mode, what do you get? The MR curve will lie below the AR curve. And in any imperfect competition, there is monopolistic, where there is monopoly everywhere. Siddharth, you can write your question in the chat box. I'll take it accordingly. So if you go with the graph, you find that MR and AR, there was a tabular presentation, numerical, which is given you, and if you go by the table, you find that AR and MR curve are downward sloping. They start the same point, but rest, MR is always less than AR. So that was the next topic, relation between AR and MR. Okay, I'll just do it. Thanks. Just let me check once. I think this should be enough. So it's given me feedback to increase the device volume. Vanshika, Sadhana, I think this is clear now, the device volume. Okay, thank you. So this was a relation between AR and MR. This is the diagram before you in the study material. Sorry, there was a disturbance. So in this diagram, you have AR equals to MR in perfect competition on the left hand side. On the right hand side, you have AR and MR under imperfect competition. Now, coming to market, the different forms of market. In economics, we know market does not denote a place. In economics, market does not denote a particular place. Rather, it denotes an entire institution, wherein the buyers and sellers of a commodity are in close interaction with each other, such that the prices can be determined freely. Suppose you're talking the gold market of India. We say the rice market, the potato market of India, the rice market of India. Then what do we mean? It does not denote a place. It denotes the total number of buyers, the total number of sellers of that commodity, say if it's gold, across entire India, such that the prices can be decided properly. So, if you go by the definition of Carnot in your book, defines market as not any particular marketplace in which things are bought and sold, but the whole of any region in which buyers and sellers are in such free intercourse with each other that the prices of the same goods tend to equality easily and quickly. In economics, what is the meaning of firm and what is industry? Firm means a seller. One seller is called a firm. And industry means all the firms belonging in the same, which is selling the same product, the same type of product, they together will form the industry. See, if I say Hindustan Lever is a firm, and if I talk about this entire soap industry, that means what? Hindustan Lever, ITC, and all other companies which involve in soap manufacturing, that forms the soap industry. Now, coming to perfect competition, we already discussed what is perfect competition, and any market other than perfect competition is imperfect competition. We'll go down to that, but before that, a very important concept of equilibrium, from which we get a lot of questions. Anyone who are raising your hand, can you put your questions in the chat box? I'll be able to answer there only. Great. I will not be able to take any voice calls. What is the meaning of equilibrium? From the point of view of market, means of firm. Equilibrium word is related to consumer as well, consumer's equilibrium. We have producer's equilibrium. Here we are talking of equilibrium of a firm. Equilibrium means what? Already increased volume, KGP, I've already increased the volume. Just check once more. The volume is already increased. The highest level of perhaps I've put the volume. Equilibrium with respect to firm, what does that mean? Equilibrium means the point of maximum profit. Again, I'm talking of market equilibrium, of firm's equilibrium. I'm not talking of consumer's equilibrium. I'm not talking of producer's equilibrium. Equilibrium with respect to firm means a point where a firm will be earning the maximum profit under the given cost and revenue conditions. Means from where the firm will not like to deviate, will not like to move away from, given the current cost and revenue conditions. एक ऐसा point जहाँ पे firm को maximum profit होता है. Now, where is that point? How does a firm achieve or reach the equilibrium point? Shivani Pal, it's not demand equal supply. Demand equal supply is again market equilibrium. Here we are talking of equilibrium of a firm. So we're not talking of equality of demand and supply. Equilibrium word in economics has different connotations. Here we are talking of equilibrium of a firm. That means the profit maximizing level of output. Basically, a level of output a firm is earning the maximum profit. Clear? Now, Where is that point? That point is achieved, is reached where every firm, whether it's perfect competition, monopoly, or monopolist competition, every firm reaches equilibrium point at the point where MC curve, the marginal cost, MC curve intersects the MR curve from below at a rising point. Remember, this is the most golden statement in which through which you can solve a lot of questions and you can understand the concepts of equilibrium, where the MC curve, the marginal cost curve, intersects the MR curve from below at a rising point. That means the two things. First is MC equals to MR, because MC curve cuts the MR curve from below. Cut. Graphically speaking, they're equal. MC equals to MR, first point. Second point is, at the point of intersection, MC curve must be rising. We call it the first order condition in the second order condition. The first order condition is equality of MC and MR. The second order condition of equilibrium is MC must be rising at the point of intersection. Yeah, Tanukeshwar, that's right. MC equals to MR and MC is rising. That's the correct answer. That is what's the meaning of equilibrium. Where is perfect competition, where is monopoly, where is monopolistic competition. Next. Now, this was MRMC approach. We call that approach as MRMC approach. And another approach for looking at equilibrium is TRTC approach, total revenue and total cost approach. That says that equilibrium will be the point where TR minus TC, the vertical distance, the distance between TR and TC is highest. Because total revenue minus total cost is profit. Now, where this gap will be highest, that will be the point of equilibrium according to the TRTC approach. So that was the on your screen you have two approaches. One is TRTC, one is MRMC. Next. Coming to perfect competition, we discussed the main features of perfect competition, and to be more specific, the market for gold, the market for shares, there is a share market, the commodity market, or the market for agricultural commodities to some extent are closure examples of perfect competition. Mark my words, they are closure examples of perfect competition. Equilibrium. Going through your book, you must have found that equilibrium for perfect competition, we have two things, two time periods, the short run and the long run. Short run equilibrium and the long run equilibrium. In the short run, a perfectly competitive firm may earn supernormal profits or only normal profits, or may even incur losses. In the short run, a perfectly competitive firm, even being in equilibrium, it may earn only normal profit. So what is the situation normal profit? Normal profit is a situation where AR equals to AC, average revenue equals to average cost. I'm not talking of equilibrium. Equilibrium is where MR equals to MC. I'm talking of normal profit. Normal profit is when a firm is earning only the normal profit, that is only the reward for the entrepreneur. The firm is able to recover total cost only. So either TR equals to TC or AR equals to AC. That is called break-even point. The firm is breaking even. We call it a situation of no profit, no loss. Because in economics, normal profit is a part of cost of production. As per economists, normal profit which must accrue to the entrepreneur is a part of cost of production. So these three concepts, the break-even point, shutdown point, and the point of supernormal profit, you must know. So break-even point is the point where the firm is earning only normal profits. AR equals to AC or TR equals to TC. Second, if average revenue is greater than average cost or TR is greater than TC, then the firm is earning supernormal profit. And if AR is less than AC or if TR is less than TC, then the firm is suffering losses. My folded hand request everyone, my statement that I cannot go in depth in this short class of 2 hours duration. We're doing a crash course. We're trying to cover the entire thing as fast as possible. So drawing up the entire diagram of equilibrium will not be possible in this short class, but my 100% focus is on examination related to multiple choice questions. I'm trying to give you the entire knowledge, but in this short span of time. So someone said, so with diagram, that is a bit impossible in this short duration. Now, Kushi, you can put your questions in the chat box, please. You cannot. Yeah, I should. Thank you. Now, in profit competition, we're talking of short-term equilibrium. You said in short-term, the firm may face these three situations of supernormal profit, normal profit, or the shutdown point. But in the long run, because of the assumption of free entry and free exit, in the long run, because the assumption of free entry and free exit, the firm will always earn only normal profit. In the long run, the firm will earn only normal profits because too much equal sound coming. Just wait. This is because the sound level was adjusted. I think now it should be fine with all of you. Because earlier it's using the diaper system. Now use the earphones. Now it's correct, Pulavi? Now still there's an echo and shiver. So now we're talking of the demand curve of a firm under profit competition. We already discussed the demand curve will be a horizontal straight line. There's nothing but the AR and demand curve. Regarding short-term equilibrium, regarding the equilibrium point, we discussed that there should be two conditions. MR equals to MC, the first order condition, like in the diagram before we do. AR, MR and MC are equal at 2 points. At this point of A dash and at the second point of the A. But equilibrium point will be this one. With output is OB, that will be the equilibrium point. Because here itself at this point A, MR curve is being intersected with the MC curve from below at the rising point. At the point A dash, MC curve is falling. So the firm will stop its production at the output level OB. I'll move on to MCQs a bit. Till this level, we'll discuss a bit of MCQs. Then we'll come down to the theoretical part again. Yeah. Coming to these questions. Question 1. Total revenue equals to, which option is A? Price into quantity. Price into quantity. Number 2. I think you all people are waiting for the MCQs. The moment MCQ comes, you will get energized and start throwing options. Average revenue is the revenue earned per unit of output. Yes, I should handle 1, 2, 3 is correct. Average revenue is the revenue earned per unit of output. Middle layer, you said per unit of input. That is wrong. Answer 1, Tanu, was price into quantity. Total revenue is price into quantity we discussed earlier. Number 3, AI can be symbolically written as total revenue by quantity. That is right, 3C. Number 4, average revenue is also known as, number 4, average revenue is also known as, we discussed the derivation as price. Next, number 5, which is the other name that is given to the average revenue curve? We said average revenue curve is nothing but demand curve from the seller, from the consumer's point of view. So 5 is B, demand curve. Number 6, marginal revenue. Just wait 1 minute. Increase the screen a bit, font size a bit. Yeah, number 6. Marginal revenue is equals to what? Obviously, option C, change in P into Q. P into Q is what? Total revenue. The change in total revenue due to 1 unit change in output. Marginal revenue is equals to the change in total revenue, price into quantity total revenue into 1 unit change in output. Number 7. It's a numerical. Properly. Price is 20, quantity minus 9. P into Q. Total revenue kitna ho gaya? 180. Price is 19, quantity minus 10. Kitna hua? 190. So earlier the total revenue was 180. Now the total revenue is 190. 9 units to 10 units. So for 1 additional unit, extra revenue, how much did you earn? 10 rupees. 180. And now 190. So for number 7, the answer is C. Is 10 rupees. Number 8. If after selling 10 units, seller realizes 12,000, and after selling 15 units, you realizes rupees 20,000, what is the marginal revenue? Be careful. I have given you 2 formulas. One is TRN minus TR minus 1. Other one was changing total revenue by changing quantity. When do you apply which one? If there's a difference of only 1 unit, then you will apply TRN minus TR minus 1. But if there's a difference of more than 1 unit, we'll apply the second, changing TR by changing quantity. Because here, in this correct question number 8, you have 10 units, you have realized 12,000, and for 15 units, you have realized 20,000. So delta TR by delta quantity. So change in TR is 8,000. Change in quantity is 5. 1600 is the answer. Here the answer will not be 8,000. Many of you have marked the C, but C is not the answer. Okay. So the answer would be 1600. Still the volume is low. What is the issue now? Is the volume okay now? Is the volume okay? Uh, Next question, question number 9. For 9 onwards, I'll give you one diagram that will be very useful for you. This is basically the relation between elasticity of demand, average revenue, and the marginal revenue. I hope you remember the last the class on demand, when we discussed that on a straight line demand curve, the elasticity of demand is different at different points. And exactly the middle point elasticity is equals to 1. Here it is greater than 1. The lower half it is less than 1. We discussed it, I hope you remember. And now here, today we discussed demand curve is nothing but AR curve. So this is the average revenue curve, wherein the different values of elasticity. Now, if we include MR over here, always remember that MR will be 0 when elasticity of demand is equals to 1. Till the point MR is, sorry, elasticity is greater than 1. You can see elasticity is greater than 1 till the middle point. When elasticity is greater than 1, we'll find MR is positive. And in the lower half, now if we increase output, here we're measuring output, here we're measuring AR, MR, TR. When the output is greater than this point, elasticity is less than 1. And when elasticity is less than 1, MR is negative. This diagram will help you understand a lot of concepts and will also help you solve a lot of MCQs. When ED is equals to 1, MR is 0. When ED is greater than 1, MR is positive. When ED is less than 1, MR is negative. So, question 9. When ED is less than 1, sorry, greater than 1, MR is positive. 9 is C. 10. Number 10, when E is greater is equals to 1, MR is, when elasticity is equal to 1, MR is 0. When ED is less than 1, MR is negative. Number 12, marginal revenue will be negative if elasticity of demand is less than 1. 13, when AR equals to 10 and AC equals to when AR equals to 10 and AC equals to 8, the firm makes supernormal profit because AR is greater than AC. You get supernormal profit. Next. 14. When dash, we know that firms are earning just normal profit. Also discuss this very well. Normal profit कब होगा? जब AC equals to AR. When here there's a problem. A Galaxy M10, Aishi, Sangamitra. Many of you given wrong answer. What did I discuss today? MR equals to MC is a condition of equilibrium. MR equals to MC is a condition of equilibrium. for condition of yeah, there was a disturbance of sound. Sorry, I think it's okay. So remember one thing. अभी थोड़ा देर पहले आपको दो तीन कॉन्सेप्ट समझाया. इक्विलिब्रियम के लिए कंडीशन होता है MC equals to MR. इक्विलिब्रियम का होता है वो. नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट के लिए क्या होता है? AC equals to AR. नॉर्मल प्रॉफिट में AC equals to AR होता है. इक्विलिब्रियम के लिए it is MC equals to MR. So 14 firms earnings is normal profit. It is AC equals to AR. Okay. When dash, I think now what is clear now. When dash below the firms are incurring losses. Losses क्या बताया? AC is greater than AR, or rather AR is less than AC. AR AC or TRTC, whatever you may call it. AR is less than AC. Revenue is less than cost, whether AR AC or TRTC. So again, some Udul went down 50 is not deep. It cannot be deep. I have everyone is there. When dash we know that firms are incurring losses, here the options went wrong. Options were wrong actually. Yeah. Next 16. When price is less than average variable cost at the profit maximizing level of output, when price is less than ABC. Now remember, we discussed one more point called break-even point. This is touched, we will discuss. Break-even point is what? In the short run, remember, there दो तरह का cost होता है, variable cost and fixed cost. In the short run, a firm may be incurring losses, but will continue in production so long as the firm is able to recover its variable cost. In the short run, in spite of incurring losses, the firm will continue production so long as it will cost. If the firm is no longer in a position to recover the variable cost, then only the firm will shut down the operations in the short run. If the firm is incurring a loss equal to the fixed cost, the firm will continue. Because fixed cost, the firm will have to incur whether it continues production or it stops production in the short run. So remember, what is the break-even, the shutdown point? The shutdown point is imperfect competition in the short run is the minimum point of the average variable cost curve. The minimum point of the ABC curve, the minimum point of the ABC curve is the shutdown point. That means for question 16, what should the answer? For question 16, it's not visible. Just wait, I need to share again. Okay, okay, okay. Now it's visible. Now it's not visible. Just wait 1 second. Now it's visible now. It's not visible. Just let me. Screen visible now. Let the technical support from the institute come. Till then, I'll continue with the theoretical part. Then, hello. Rajus, this. आपको दिखाई दे We'll just take a moment to move. हाँ सर ठीक है ठीक है This is some technical issue. Perhaps I'll continue the theoretical aspect then. Till then, without wasting time. Now, we were discussing a perfect competition. Now I'll move on towards monopoly and the monopolistic competitions. What is monopoly? Monopoly is a situation. I don't know whether you will be able to view the screen. Monopoly is a situation in which reciprocation screen thiella, I don't understand Tamil. Well, monopoly is a situation in which there's a single seller or a single producer. In monopoly, there's a single seller or a single producer of a particular commodity or service, and that commodity service does not have any close substitutes. The single seller will command the entire industry. There's only one firm, and that one firm will be commanding the entire industry. That is called a monopoly market. That means firm or the industry is all the same case. One firm is equal to the entire industry. As a result, if you compare perfect competition and non-monopoly, in perfect competition, every firm is only a price taker. A firm under perfect competition is only a price taker. They cannot decide the price. Price is decided by the market in perfect competition. But in monopoly, the firm is a price maker. In monopoly, the firm has a substantial control over the price. They can change the price. The firm can change the price. Very good example of monopoly is the Indian Railways. Because you want to avail the railway services, you'll have to take the help only from Indian Railways. You don't have the railways for the Tatas, with the Birlas, with the Manis, right? That's monopoly. In monopoly, a firm will have downward sloping demand curve. There's a downward sloping AR curve. So in monopoly, if we ask that what is the AR and MR, that is AR and MR is downward sloping, and MR lies below AR under perfect competition. Going to thanks, Rice. Now, coming to question 15. 15, when dash variable firms are incurring losses when AR is less than AC. 15D, when AR is less than AC, that is the firms are incurring losses. Coming to question 16, when the price is less than average variable cost at the profit maximizing level formula. Profit maximizing level formula is nothing but equilibrium point. When price is less than ABC, so long as price is greater than ABC, the firm will continue. If the price is less than the ABC, the firm will shut down since it cannot recover its variable cost even. So, if the price is less than the average variable cost, the firm should shut down since it cannot recover its variable cost. Next, number 17, at shutdown point. At shutdown point, obviously price is just yeah. 17, Ludullier. Again, what you people, what you did, you were in a hurry. Read the questions carefully. On the options. At the shutdown point, price is equals to ABC. That's true. But second one, no man, Pallavi. Price is less than ABC. At shutdown point, the price and ABC are equal. Now, if we go further, then the price will become less than ABC. So shut down. If we ask when will the firm shut down, when the price goes below ABC. But if it is what is shutdown point? Shutdown point is a point where price is equals to ABC. So A is correct, but B is also correct. Total revenue is equals to total variable cost. C is also correct. Total loss of the firm is equals to total variable cost. All are correct. But what happens again in the MCQ? Our minds have been tuned that shutdown point means price is equals to ABC. We pick the answer A. We forget to judge answer B and the point the options B and C as well. B says that's right, love at first sight. Total revenue is equals to total variable cost. Right? And total loss is equals to TFC. I said in the short run, the firm will continue in production even if it is suffering losses equals to the total fixed cost. So total loss of the firm is equal to total fixed cost. That is also at the shutdown point. So all of the above is the correct answer. So answer is D. That's right. Yeah, 17 was D. 18. Suppose that at the profit maximizing level of output, the firm finds that market price is less than average total cost. Listen, profit maximizing level of output means what? Equilibrium. The firm finds that market price is less than average total cost, average cost, but greater than average variable cost. Price is less than average cost, but it is greater than average variable cost. हमने क्या बोला? If the price is greater than ABC, the firm will continue production. Though the firm will be earning losses equal to the total fixed cost, but still the firm should continue so that the losses are minimized. So for 18, option A is not possible because A says shut down. B, the firm should raise its price, not possible. C, not possible. Answer is D. That is correct option coming up. Next, 19. Which is the first order condition? For profit maximization, the first order condition is MC equals to MR. 20. MC equals to MR and MC cuts MR from below is a true equilibrium condition M, short term and long run both. So for 20, the answer is C. Yes, Sanjana Tiwari. This was right. It's both in the short term and in the long run. This right answer. Now, equilibrium marketplace 21. Read the question properly for 21. Try to find the answers. Yes, some of you have given the right answer. It's C. Price of 4 rupees. Right? Because when the price is 4, then demand and supply are equal to each other. That's the correct answer. Next. 22. If the market of computers is not an equilibrium, which the following statement is definitely true. The market of computers is not an equilibrium, which the following statement is definitely true. Great options. Some people have given the right answer. It's D. Prices of computers will change, but the rest information we have not been given. Why? Whether demand is more, or the supply is more, or which one is less. So we don't have the enough information. So 22D is the right answer. 23. With a given supply curve. Given supply curve means what? Supply curve is constant. Decrease in demand. For these answers, you should know the diagram. That's more important. Like demand curve and the supply curve. What options they given? They given with the given supply curve. So supply curve is fixed. Decrease in demand. And the chapter in demand is decrease in demand means demand potential quantities. Now, original equilibrium was here. With the decrease in demand, price and quantity both have decreased. Price and quantity both has decreased. So 23, the answer will be D. Overall decrease in price and a decrease in equivalent quantity. So whenever questions will come from these set portions, in the exams also very quickly with a pencil, just a rough sheet, draw it. You have a lot of sheets, draw, and you get answer. Next, 24. Agriculture goods market characteristics close to of Obviously, they're close to perfect competition. I discussed. Yes, correct answer coming up 25. Which of the following markets would most closely satisfy the requirements for a perfectly competitive market? Which the markets would be close to perfectly competitive market? 25. Neha, Tanisha, some of you Vidul are saying A. 25. We're counting 25. Yes, market for milk. Because cable television, cola, electricity don't have a large number of sellers. In each of these markets, the number of sellers is limited. In the market for milk, the large number of sellers. To some extent. Now here we're talking milk. I'm not talking packaged milk, just milk. So in milk, we're not talking packaged milk. And nowadays we have different varieties of milk coming up. So that cannot be perfect competition. But the market for milk supplied by the milkmen, we can have perfectly competitive market features. So it's milk. 26. Shares traded in the stock exchange debit characteristics close to. Little here for milk, I said, no, because in milk we have large number of buyers and sellers, and they're selling the homogeneous product. There's no different quality. I'm not talking packaged milk. I'm talking the raw milk supplied by the milkman. With a fixed price, like that. So 25, the answer is D. 26. Shares traded on the stock market definitely close to perfect competition because fixed price, large number of buyers and sellers with all the features. Next, 27. One of the essential conditions of perfect competition is 27. Read the options here. I'll give you time. One of the essential conditions of perfect competition is yes. Good answer coming up. Is D. It's not A. Product differentiation is not a feature. Multiplicity prices for identical product is not a feature. Many sellers and few buyers is also not a feature. Perfect competition. This is not perfectly competitive. For perfect competition, there should be product homogeneity. So A is not possible. Multiplicity of price is also not possible because fixed price will buy. So B is also not correct. C, many sellers and few buyers. Wrong, because many sellers, many buyers. But D, only one price for identical goods at any one point of time. Yes, 27D is correct answer. Coming to 28. Under which the following forms of market structure does a firm have no control over the price of its product? Obviously, D, perfect competition, correct answer. Because in the rest of the markets, all the three are imperfectly competitive markets where the firm has some control over the price. Next, 29. In perfect competition, the firm is yes, B, price taker and not price maker. 30. Price taker firms. Now 30. Price taker firms. Price taker firms means firms under perfect competition. So 30. Price taker firms is firms under perfect competition. A is not possible. B is bogus. D is also not possible. Because in the perfect competition, there is no advertisement cost. There is no advertisement. So answer C. 31. Coming to 31. Which of the following is not a condition of perfect competition? 31. Uh, 30 times for C, ma'am. Then we are solely 30 times for C we discussed. 31 we are discussing. 31. Which of the following is not a condition? Obviously, C is not a condition. Again, you are going wrong. Don't be too fast. Perfect mobility factors of production is a condition of the competition, sir. perfect mobility of factors of production, perfect knowledge of market conditions, no common interference, fixed price, homogeneous product, large number of buyers and sellers. These are all conditions of competition. Informative advertisement is not a feature. So 31 answer is C. 32. 32. Read the options properly. Yes, D is the correct answer because equilibrium is the point when the firm is having maximum profit and there is no intention to expand or contract its output. So A and B both. So 32 answer is D. That's correct. 33. What is the shape of demand curve faced by a firm in perfect competition? 33. That's right. Horizontal straight line parallel to the x-axis because A and M curve are parallel, right? So 33 is A, correct. 34. MR curve and AR curve coincide in 34. AR curve and MR curve coincide in 34. Perfect competition is the correct answer. Hand raising, I cannot help Shubhani with the Shubhani, right? The chat box, I cannot help with it. 35. Under perfect competition, the firm will an equilibrium when? 35. Read the options. Yes. Again, someone is going wrong with a layer. It's D, all of these. But the perfect competition firm will equilibrium when MC plus MR, MC plus MR from below, and MC rising with plus MR. So all of these is the correct answer. 36. In perfectly competitive firm, this is a question. Remember, short-term supply curve of a firm under perfect competition. In perfect competition, the supply curve will be that portion of the MC curve which lies above the shutdown point, or rather which lies above the minimum point of ABC. If you recall, I said the minimum point of ABC is nothing but a shutdown point. What I'm discussing, short-term supply curve under perfect competition. Short-term supply curve is that portion of the MC curve which lies above that portion of the MC curve which lies above the minimum point of the ABC. So 36. In a perfectly competitive firm, MC curve above ABC is the supply curve of the firm. So that is D, the supply curve of the firm. Next. $37. In the long run, in a perfectly competitive market, there will be. In the long run, there has to be only normal profits. No, Vinayak, that is true only for the short run. Because in the long run, we don't have any concept of variable costs. All the costs are variable. In the long run, in perfectly competitive market, there will be only normal profits. So that's A. 38. In the long run, any firm will eventually leave the industry if prices does not at least cover the average cost. Firms will continue in the long run only if we are able to recover our total cost. So TR equals to TC minimum, or rather TR is equals to TC. So for 38, the answer is A. 39. Remember, in the long run, what happens? In perfect competition, we know equilibrium is what? MC equals to MR equilibrium. And for normal profit, we have AR equals to AC. IL. Again, in perfect competition, we know MR is always equals to AR. So in the long run, at the point of equilibrium, if you go through these three things, you'll find that AR equals to AC equals to MC equals to MR equals to price. All the equalities are there. In the long run, in perfect competition, at the point of equilibrium, everything must be there. That is, it's a point of intersection of all AR, AC, AR, MR, the debit price, everything. So the 39 answer is actually correct now. It's D. Price is greater than long run average cost. Right. Read the further questions. I'll give you some time to answer these. Read the further. For 38, we said na, it's D. 38, the answer is D. No, sorry. Vinayak was asking 38. No? 38 is A. Vinayak for 38 is A. 39 was D. 40. Excess capacity is not found under. What is the meaning of the word excess capacity? Excess capacity means the firm to lower level. Means जितना productive capacity installed है, the firm is utilizing less than that. That is, the firm is not producing the optimum level of output. That is not called excess capacity. And in perfect competition, there is no excess capacity. Remember, in imperfect competition, under imperfect competition, every firm will operate at a point less than the optimum capacity. That is, in every firm, there will be an excess capacity under imperfect competition. So, excess capacity is not found under perfect competition, because in perfect competition, every firm is operating at the optimum level of output. Then only profit is maximized. Excess capacity will not be found, is never found under perfect competition. So, got the point. For 40, the answer is C. The rest all firms have excess capacity. Always remember, everyone, in the multiple choice question exams now, you need to be more serious. You have to read the entire stuff. Subjective exams are comparatively easier than MCQs. It's not a joke here. I'm serious. For solving MCQs, you must have in-depth knowledge of the subject. I'm not talking about learning. I'm talking about knowledge of the subject. But I find many options at times coming very fast and then long. It's not the right way. Thankfully, exams have been postponed. Had the exam not been postponed, you should have been well prepared. Anyways, coming to 41. So 40 answer is C, perfect competition. 41. Monopoly is a situation in which there is a single seller product which has no close substitute. Distinct substitutes will always be there. A bit ago, we discussed about an example of monopolies in the railways. Now, railways का distant substitute है airlines, not roadways. Roadways is an inferior substitute. Suppose if you need to travel to Jammu and Kashmir from Tamil Nadu, one option is you go by railways. The other two options are either inferior or superior. You go by roadways. It'll take a long time. Though you may enjoy the ride, that's a separate issue if you like driving. But in terms of time consuming, it will take more time and be more discomfort. So roadways, so inferior substitute. Or airlines will take much less time, but will be a bit costly. So that would be a superior substitute. So distinct substitute will always be their monopoly. Monopoly is a situation in which there is a single seller product which has no close substitute. Remember, 42 under monopoly, the degree of control over price is considerable, very high control of the prices. Monopolist is a price maker. 43, answer is A. Monopolist is not a price taker. Only if you are given an answer, I don't know how come. Right now, we discussed 5 minutes ago, a firm under perfect competition is price taker. The rest all firms are price maker. So 43 is A. 44. All the following characteristics of monopoly except single firm, that is a monopoly, that is a feature. So A cannot be the answer because except firm is a price taker. That is not a characteristic, so except B is the correct answer. 44 is B, correct. Good response coming in. 45. The AR curve and the market or the industry demand curve are seen under. Obviously, under monopoly, because monopoly is said a firm is equal to the entire market, is equal to the entire industry. So, AR curve or the industry demand curve are same in the case of monopoly. So, 45 answer is A. '46. The demand curve facing an industrial firm under monopoly is the demand curve facing an industrial firm under monopoly is. We discussed the AR curve and MR curve, the downward sloping. We discussed AR curve is nothing but the demand curve. Right. So the demand curve facing an industrial firm under monopoly is option should be downward sloping. Yeah. 47. In monopoly, the relationship between AR and MR curve is diagram proper दिखाए थे आपको we should draw the diagram that under monopoly AR curve lies above the MR curve or that the MR curve lies below the AR curve or rather MR is less than AR. Next. 48. A monopolist is able to maximize his output when profit maximization is nothing but equilibrium condition. And equilibrium condition is MR equals to MC. First order condition, second order condition is MC must cut MR from below at the rising point. So for 48, the answer is D. This marginal cost is equals to marginal revenue. 49. If marginal revenue exceeds marginal cost, remember, so long as marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, any firm, there is perfect competition, monopoly, every firm should expand the output, should go on increasing the output. So if MR exceeds MC, a monopolist should increase the output. Yeah. 50. In case of monopoly, in the short run, monopoly firm in the short run can have monopolist, even being a single seller, in the short run, they may earn, and they almost every time they earn supernormal profit. But remember, they may earn normal profit, or they may also incur losses. So monopoly firm in the short run may have any of these: supernormal profit, normal profit, losses, any of the above is possible. So 50, the answer is D. 51. A monopoly firm usually earns dash even long. Usually earns. Make sure. Always, we're not talking, we're talking usually. Normally what happens? So whether short run or long run, usually firm will earn supernormal profit. But remember, that is a usual condition, not a necessary condition. Coming to 52. Before going to 52, what is price discrimination, or what is discriminating monopoly? Price discrimination or discriminating monopoly means selling the same product to different consumers at different prices. First thing, discriminating monopoly means it has different meaning. One is it can be in different ways. Price discrimination also we call it. It can be practiced in different ways. One is selling the same product to different consumers at different prices. Like in case of electricity rates, different prices are charged from different types of consumers. For residential consumers, the rates are different. For industrial consumers, the different rates. For commercial consumers, the different rates. The same electricity is being supplied, but to different people at different rates. Like in railways, senior citizens get a concession. Normal citizens have to pay the full fare. And even students get concession. If you want to avail concession, students can also avail concession. There is a concession for the women quota, for the ladies even. Different rates for different passengers. It's not based upon the weight. Someone who's having, who's fatty and is more weight will have to pay more fare, and a person who's thin and slim will have to pay lesser fare for that. It's based on a watertight compartment, such that consumer of one market cannot move to another market. I cannot avail a senior citizen concession in the railways. If I try to avail, if I'm caught, I'll be put behind the bars. Right? Similarly, I cannot ask a senior citizen to purchase a ticket and then sell it to me and then transfer it to me. It's also not possible. That is such as a watertight compartment. But for price discrimination to be successful, the total market of a monopolist is divided into different markets which are having different types of elasticity of demand. Remember, the monopolist will have to divide his market into two different markets having different elasticities of demand. One market should have elasticity greater than 1, and the other market should have elasticity less than 1. Then only price discrimination will be profitable. In a market having elasticity greater than 1, the monopolist charges lower price, and a market having elasticity less than 1, higher price is charged. And both these combined together will increase the profit of the monopolist. Both these taken together will increase the profit of the monopolist. You know why? In a market which is having an elasticity greater than 1, you have to correlate the chapter of elasticity of demand, the topic of elasticity of demand. In a market having elasticity greater than 1, the monopolist will charge a lower price. Because by lowering the price a bit, the demand will increase more. Elasticity greater than 1 or elastic demand is what? It's a situation when demand shows a greater response to changing price. If the price is lowered a bit, demand will increase much more than the changing price, and hence the total revenue will increase. And in the market having elasticity less than 1, it's reverse. In the market having elasticity less than 1, higher prices charged, prices increased. If the price increases by say 20%, demand may fall by less than 20%, so only 5% or 10%. And thereby again the total revenue will be maximized. What I'm discussing, that what is price discrimination? How it is profitable? What are the conditions for price discrimination? This is what I'm discussing. And the price discrimination we talked of, that the same product being sold to different consumers at different prices. Again, there's another way. That product is differentiated. That is, suppose the same product may be launched with 2 variants. One variant would be a bit cheap quality, other one may be of a superior quality. Say, for example, the market for books, the philosophical books, the motivational books, the novels. 2 types of editions are normally produced. One is an LP edition, low price edition. Those books normally have a bit poor paper quality and a poor binding. Suppose a book is launched with just 100 rupees as the market price. Same book with better quality pages and a better binding. Maybe you may find that book in a store and that is being sold at 700. Same book, same content, same author, same title, everything same. But one is being sold at 100, other one is being sold at 700. Same content. But the one which is being sold at 100 or just 150 or just 200 will have a poor page quality and poor binding. Now, in order to improve the page quality and in order to improve the binding, maybe an additional 100 bucks have been spent, 100 rupees have been spent. So in that case, the better quality one should have been sold at 200 or 300, but it's been sold at 700. You know why? Because at 700 price, who would be purchasing the book? Either the businessman, or the school library, or the college library, or the CS Institute, or we professionals. We will purchase the book with a higher price. You know why? Because it will be long lasting. Because if I place a book which is having a good binding, and if I put it in my showcase, it attracts people. Yeah, I do it. Let me just give one small suggestion. Everyone should possess a book, The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret is a very good book. I have found different editions of that same book. I found it for 100, I found it for 250, and I have also purchased it for 750. For 750, and the book which I purchased almost 10 years ago is still now as like as good. You know why? Because the paper quality binding is good. The school library, the college library of we professionals, our market is having elasticity less than 1. And basically for the student segment, where at that time, when I was a student, money was very important. At that time, we are conscious about the money. Yeah, in the store that we have to be. At that time, Acha, it's a low price, we'll purchase it. So that market is having elasticity greater than 1. So that is one condition for price discrimination. Again, price discrimination also takes about dumping. What is dumping? In dumping, what happens? A product which is being sold, the book name was Roundup is The Secret. The book name is The Secret. It's a very good book, and you have the movie of this on YouTube as well. But obviously, keeping the book with you is a very big asset for you. You should read it and get it. It's very good motivation. Anyways, I was talking dumping. Dumping is another form of price discrimination. What's dumping? You will be shocked, maybe some of you might be knowing that the product of the home country, your product of your country, is being sold in your country at a higher price and in another country at a lower price. When the product of the domestic country is being sold in a foreign country at a lower price, it is called dumping. Why is it done? In order to destroy the local market of that foreign country, in order to capture the domestic market of that foreign country, dumping is practiced. So, if you're talking 52, for 52, distributing monopoly implies that the monopolist charges different prices for his commodity from different group of consumers for different uses at different places. Any of these at different places also is possible. I explained for different uses and from different group of consumers. Everything is possible. So 52, the answer is B. Yes, the 4 to any of these is the answer. Next, 53. Dumping involves, yes, A is the correct answer. Selling at a price in other market which is lower than price or cost in your home market. Home market means the domestic country, domestic market. 54. Price discrimination is not possible. 54. Price is not possible in the case of. When is it not possible? Obviously not possible in the case of perfect competition, because perfect competition we have the fixed price. 55. Discriminating monopoly is possible if two markets have different elasticities of demand. The two markets have different elasticity of demand, then price discrimination is possible. I explained that very well. We have to do it in the market with two different markets having elasticity less than 1 and having elasticity greater than 1. 26. Price discrimination will be profitable only if elasticity of demand is different markets in which the total market as divided is different. It's possible, it is profitable only if the different markets will have different elasticities of demand. 57. You will read and find the answers yourself. Yes, very good answers coming in. 57 is D, all of these. To earn maximum profit, to dispose of surplus stock, and to enjoy the economies of scale. All of this is possible. 58. In case of monopoly, remember, short-term supply curve cannot be defined. 58, the answer is C. 58, answer is C. A and B are already there. A curve and a mark are already there. The shorter supply curve cannot be defined. 59. Monopoly power refers to the firm's ability to. What is monopoly power? Refers to the firm's ability to charge. Monopoly power is when we are able to charge higher prices above the marginal cost. Monopoly power does not actually refer to restrict entry into the industry. No, it does not mean restrict entry into the industry. It means that you are in a position to charge prices above the marginal cost. Then that shows that you are having a monopoly power. Right. Coming to 16. The structure of the toothpaste industry. Now comes the next market structure, monopolistic. What's a monopolistic market? Monopolistic market is a market in which there are a large number of buyers and sellers. They are selling differentiated product. The sellers are selling differentiated product, and there's a presence of huge advertising expenditure. Advertisement cost or selling cost plays a very important role in creating the product differentiation. Under monopolistic competition, all the firms are definitely the price maker. They're not price taker, they decide their own price. But there's a rivalry among the firms, but they fight with each other not on the basis of price, but I'll again repeat, on the basis of advertisement or the selling expenditure. So the toothpaste industry, the soap industry, the market for detergent powders, the market of toilet soaps as you call, all these are the examples of monopolistically competitive market, monopolistic competition. So 60, 61, both the cases the answer is C, monopolistically competitive or monopolistic competition. It's C. 62 is again monopolistic competition. Why? Because the market structure in which many firms sell products that are similar but not identical. The products in monopolistic competition are similar. Soap is a soap. For bathing purpose, you can use Lux, you may use Masu, you may use Lidl, you may use Dove, you may use Marble, you may use Medimix, whatever you want to. Right? The products are similar, but they're not identical. They're having differentiating features. And that differentiating feature is created through heavy advertisement, right? So, 62, the answer is A, monopolistic competition. 63. 63, answer is D, that's correct. By some of you. 63. Which of following is not a characteristic of monopolistic competition? Homogeneous product is not a characteristic. Next, sale of branded articles is common in a situation of branded articles is common in a situation of obviously monopolistic competition. 64 is B, monopolistic competition. 65, which of following is not a characteristic of monopolistically competitive market? Not a characteristic of monopolistically competitive market. Yes, B is not a feature. Abnormal profits longer is usually not possible. 66. A firm under monopolistic competition advertises. Why does it advertise? 66. So, yeah, 66. A firm under monopolistic competition advertises. Why does it advertise? Obviously, to increase its sale and its profit. Next, 67. In the short run, a firm in monopolistic competition, 67, yes, Tanisha, you're right, it may earn normal profits, supernormal profits, or incur losses. That's the 68. In the long run, a firm in monopolistic competition, in the long run, 68, earns only normal profits. That's correct. So 69 is also same. Answer is B. Earn normal profits. 69. In the long run, all firms in monopolistic competition earn normal profits. In monopolistic competition, a firm is in long run equilibrium. When is long run equilibrium possible? Read the options. In monopolistic company, firm is in equilibrium. Read the options carefully. Minimum point of LSE curve is not the correct answer. Many of you are giving the answer A. And you know why? Because minimum point of, if any firm is operating the minimum point of the LSE curve, that means there will be no excess capacity. That means the firm is producing the optimum level of output, remember. And in any of competition, that is not possible. Because in all the above competitions, as we discussed, every firm has excess capacity. So, in a monopolistically competitive market, a firm is in long run equilibrium. I'm just waiting for the answers. I think all the options have been used. Here we discussed the long run, a firm is having normal profits. And we also discussed that every firm will have excess capacity. Excess capacity means basically firm is producing, is operating at less than the optimum level of output. To the point. So that is at the declining segment of the LSE curve. At the when the LSE curve is declining, and any of these points, the firm will have an equilibrium condition. That is correct, but the more specific answer is when price is equal to marginal cost. Because in the long run, we say the firm has having only normal profits. So actual answer is D. Please judge the options carefully. 71. In the long run, monopolistic competitive firm has obviously excess capacity is the correct answer. Excess capacity is an essential characteristic of the firm in the market form of it's usually found more in monopolistic as with monopolistic competition. Next, 73. In imperfect competition, excess capacity always exists. For 73, the answer is A. Now coming to a bit on oligopoly. What is an oligopoly market? An oligopoly is a market in which there are large number of buyers, but sellers are few sellers and large number of buyers. And the sellers are selling either the same, means identical or differentiated product, but There's a huge interdependence among the sellers, especially with respect to pricing decision. A huge interdependence. There's not a feature. You know, we have few sellers, large number of buyers. The sellers may be selling same or differentiated product, but a very important feature is there's a heavy interdependence among the sellers, especially with respect to pricing decision. There emerges a concept of leadership, like the market for telecom industry, telephone service providers in India. They are definitely limited number of providers. We are limited. Maybe in your state, we'll have 4 or 5 players highest, not more than that. And there's a huge interdependence among them. Like if we discuss about the telecom industry, before Tata Docomo came into India, all the players were charging on a per call basis. Means it is not pay per second. Like nowadays, we have the concept of pay per second. Tata Docomo was the only company, was the first company to launch pay per second. Before that, what used to happen? Suppose if the call charges was 1 rupee, then even if we have spoken locally even, just for 5 seconds, 1 rupee would be charged. Even the rates are much more before that, you can consider parents. But when Tata Docomo came into its operations, it was other companies are charging 1 rupee per minute. That means what if you've spoken only for 5 seconds or 10 seconds even, that is then also 1 rupee was charged. There's postpaid prepaid. Now when Tata Docomo came, they launched the concept of pay per second. That is, if you've spoken for 5 seconds, you'll be charged only for 5 seconds. And all the companies within 1 month had to change their plans. Even some companies changed within 1 week because they had a fear of losing their customers. But I was talking of leadership. Here, one player, Tata Docomo, emerged as a leader. Others started following. That was earlier. Now, in the current scenario in which you're living, Jio emerged as a leader. Jio started giving data at such a lower rates. Thankfully, we all survived in this COVID-19 situation, perhaps because of Jio. Because when Jio brought it, other players also had to cut down their data charges. That means that here Jio emerged as a leader, others started following. Because if they don't follow, they lose their market. So that is an oligopoly market. In oligopoly market, you have one more important feature of kinked demand curve. I'll just show you the board. It was a kinked demand curve. In the oligopoly market, the demand curve at the existing price level will have a bend. Kink means what? Bend. At the existing price level, the demand curve will have a bend. You know what happens? It means the upper half of the demand curve will have elasticity greater than 1, and the lower half will have elasticity less than 1. Means at the existing, here we are measuring price, here we are measuring quantity. At the existing price level, the demand curve will have a bend. Why? It shows that the prices have become sticky in nature. Sticky. Price rigidity. This is basically founded by Swizzy. It's not Swiggy, also. It's Swiggy. Swizzy. He says that, according to him, if the price level is this now, the pricing will become sticky price for a long time. Price will not change. Reason: if the prices are increased to some extent, suppose only this much, the demand will fall by a greater proportion because elasticity demand is greater than 1. If the pricing increased a bit, at the upper half of the demand curve, the elasticity is greater than 1, means after the bend, it is greater than 1. So demand will fall in a greater proportion to change in price. So the firm will not have any profit in the total revenue. It will not be profitable for the firm to increase. And vice versa, if the prices are reduced even too much, the demand will increase by a lesser proportion. Why? Because if I reduce the prices, my competitors won't sit idle. If I decrease the prices, other players, other competitors will also reduce the prices. So my quantity sold will not increase. And therefore the elasticity of demand is less than 1. What's the point? So that is the meaning of the kinked demand curve hypothesis under oligopoly market. So, question 74. The structure of the cold drink industry in India is best described as, in cold drink industry also we have oligopoly market because we have very limited number of sellers. And the kinked demand curve hypothesis is designed to explain in the context of oligopoly price rigidity. Price rigidity explained करने के लिए kinked demand curve hypothesis explains the price rigidity. Just give me one moment. Yeah. So coming to the study material, we discuss about perfect competition, we discuss about monopoly, we discuss price discrimination, short-term and long-run equilibrium we discussed. We discussed with oligopoly. We discussed about price rigidity, the kinked demand hypothesis given by Swizzy, SWWZY. Here on the screen, Swizzy's kinked demand curve model. What is price rigidity? Explain that pricing will remain sticky over the period of time. Price will not change. The reason is based nothing but upon elasticity demand that is explained in the book. Now, what's collusive oligopoly? Collusive oligopoly is basically called cartel. Collusive oligopoly is basically called cartel. When obviously there are few firms, when the firms come together to decide the price or the output. You know, like the OPEC, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC. That's a collusive oligopoly. It's a cartel. Like at times, what happens? Suppose in the sugar manufacturing, there are very limited firms in India who are manufacturing sugar. They may come into a collusion. They may come into kind of understanding that they will not sell sugar below this price. In that case, what happens? Prices are dictated by kind of their association. That is not an association in the formal sense. They cannot do it. But they have just entered into an oral agreement. that we will not sell below this. And that becomes collusive oligopoly. That is basically collusion kind of a thing. So this is about this chapter entirely, wherein we have this, and we can pick up a bit of questions from the study material. They're very limited questions, and remember one magical thing. Do compulsorily solve all the questions from your study material. Like number one, let us discuss these questions. Which one is not a feature of a competition? Number one, answer is C. 2. In the long run, a firm under perfect competition can. In the long run, a firm under perfect competition can. Number 2. Number 2. Yes, it's only A. 2 is not B. Sorry. Tanisha, then you people have again not got it. Number 2, perfect competition. We discussed in the long run, there can be only normal profits. Why can there be only normal profits? Someone write the chat box. My question is why all firms with perfect competition will earn only normal profits. Why? Because of which assumption? I discussed today. Because of which assumption a firm will earn only normal profits in the long run? No one is answering the chat box. The question is, why does a firm earn only normal profits in the long run in perfect competition? Because of which assumption? Because I found Tanisha given a wrong answer. No, not pricing of fixed is the right answer. Biggest price maker is not the right answer. I discussed. All becomes very no. Yes, Divya Soni the right answer. Avnish Kumar, Vinayak free entry and free exit. Because of the assumption of free entry and free exit, all firms in perfect competition in the long run will earn only normal profits. That's a good answer by the three of you. Coming next, number 3. Which one is not a feature of monopoly? Which one is not a feature of monopoly? Yes, B. Firm is a price taker. Is not a feature. What is shutdown point? Number 4. What is known as shutdown price? Number 4. Shutdown price. Again, wrong. What happened here? Today we discussed. Some people are going right, some are wrong. It's B. When the price are good, equals the average variable cost. That is called shutdown price. Shutdown point. 5. A market will be different when? Market. They're talking market. We are talking of market. Quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. That's true. Excess demand, excess supply is 0. That is also true. The market is cleared by the equivalent price. That is also true. It's D. Number 6. When a firm's average revenue is equal to average cost, it gets average revenue is equal to average cost. Then what happens? Obviously, normal profit. Correct. Number 7. Which of the following statements about firms in different types of markets false? The false statement. A is correct. The perfect competitor has no influence so the price of the apples. That was based on price, not on the basis of price, but on the basis of non-price competition. And oligopolists will monitor the price and products of all the firms in this market.
An oligopolist may monitor the price of products of all across the market. That's also true. Monopolist must be large firm. Which of the following statements false? Just what is the answer for? Monopolist must be large firm. Yes, that is not. It may be large, but it must not be. It's not necessary. It has to be large firm. Number 8. The 7 is D. Compared to the case of perfect competition, monopolist is more likely to. Compared to the case of perfect competition, a monopolist is more likely to. All the three, because charge a higher price. Always remember the major difference between perfect competition and imperfect competition, or rather perfect competition, monopoly, perfect competition, and monopolistic. The major difference is the price in the perfect competition will always be lower than under imperfect competition. Second, under imperfect competition, the firms will always produce less than what optimum they can produce. I said now, excess capacity. Firms under imperfect competition will always have an excess capacity, whereas firms under perfect competition will always produce at the optimum level of output. And third thing is, firms under perfect competition will always earn less economic profit than firms under imperfect competition. So for number 8, all the three are correct. It's all of these. Yeah, I guess compared to the case of competition, monopoly is more likely to charge a higher price, correct? Produce a lower quantity, correct? Make a great amount of economic profit, correct? So all the three. Next, which of following market sectors assume that there are barriers to entry? Barriers to entry are in which? Obviously, C. Sir, in monopolistic competition, there is no barrier to entry. But in monopoly, there are barriers to entry. Remember, if you want to start producing toothpaste or soap, you can do it. There are no barriers. But if you want to start a railway, you cannot start. Got it. Next, let's see. Number 10. In order to practice price discrimination, the following is needed. Some degree of monopoly power, yes. Ability to separate the market, yes. Ability to prevent reselling, yes. All of them. So I'll call it a day. Today's topic was market, and we'll discuss this topic through the length and breadth. The entire chapter we covered to covering of diagrams, it's not possible. But we'll try to do just as much as possible to the MCQ part portion and to the entire topic. Thank you. Take care of yourself and continue reading so that you can get ranked in your exams. Again, a crash of accounts, I cannot answer to this. Only the institute can answer this. I'm ready to serve my alma mater. Always eager to teach you. Thank you. Stay safe, stay protected. We'll meet again in the next class with Indian economy. Thank you so much. Thanks, Pallavi. Thanks, everyone, for your responses.